Hi, I'm John Kenfield from the Solutionist group with another video in the series of 50 common causes of conflict in family business and what to do about them. This is session number 28, dealing with family members' expectations and senses of entitlement. Being a member of a family that has a business can create unjustifiable and perhaps unsupportable expectations of rewards or benefits from that business. Typical things include the provision of cars, mobile phones, possibly business credit cards and so on, to cover what are perhaps private expenses out of the business. Being a private business, the business can do more or less whatever it wants. Whether it can do things legally, in particular according to tax rules, and whether it can afford those things is another issue entirely. And that's what we're really going to be talking about, because that can create considerable conflict within the family. Often these problems arise due to parental generosity, which may be fine when the business is flying high, but becomes a serious problem when the business is not in such a great place. So that's the sort of situation we're talking about. We're also talking about a situation where we look at family member expectation when a family member is employed in the business and their expectations of remuneration are unrealistic compared to other people in the business, and particularly in comparison with their abilities and their contribution to the success of the business. There is a popular myth that family members have to put in 120% of the effort that non-family members put into a business. In my experience, over an awful lot of years of working with families in business, this often works for the founding generation. It may carry over to some extent to the second generation. It doesn't very often apply to the third generation. So we're talking about sense of entitlement. Though that comes in several forms, one being that a family member is a form of protected species so far as the business is concerned. They are not held accountable, they don't get the hard word laid on them, and they are over-rewarded for underperformance or even ordinary performance. They are also allowed a level of job security which they would not enjoy in a non-family environment. In other words, for their abilities and their contribution, their effort, their participation, their effect on the business would not be allowed to happen, and certainly would not be allowed to continue in an ordinary business where they were not employed because of their family name. That, of course, creates major problems within the business for siblings and other family members who are doing the right thing and performing correctly, and particularly amongst staff, particularly in key roles, who are doing the right thing and feel perhaps under-rewarded, whilst family members are protected and over-rewarded for not doing the right thing. When parental promises are taken into a business without disclosure, without negotiation, and without approval within the business, we get clashes. We get clashes against other employees, and what we see is a culture being established in a business where the leaders do not support the values and the culture that they claim are fundamental to their business. These problems also create conflict within the family when, let's say, dad has made or is taken to have made promises about the rewards and the protection and the prospects of the children, which are not able to be satisfied, and he is then held to account by mum, who is keen to protect her children and see them achieve wonderful things that dad is simply unable to deliver on within that business context. So we have conflict there happening back in the family as a result of the same problem. What's the solution? Well, this is not difficult, and it is standard advice. The business needs to be treated as a business, and it needs to have an objective HR policy, and all members of the business, including the owner, should be subject to that business. We've probably all heard the expression, the fish always starts to stink from the head, and that relates to the setting of culture in a business. If the leaders do not hold themselves accountable to the rules that they wish to employ for the whole business, then why should anybody else take them seriously? So we have objective HR criteria, employment according to merit, performance management, review of contribution, specific KPIs, and job security and job advancement based on actual observable performance, which normally requires some non-family members to be involved in the judging of that performance and probably the supervision of family members. Secondly, if family members do have expectations, or if parents want to be generous to their family, don't do it directly from the business. Transfer spare funds out of the business into a family slush fund, and you can then distribute that any way you like according to the needs of individual family members without risk of being in breach of any business common sense policies. To make all this work, the family should have agreed written policies, often contained in a family constitution, that describe the employment criteria, rewards, and benefits that family members can and should expect as a result of the family having a business. These should reflect and be congruent with the HR rules within the business. If those things are in place, when problems arise, you have an objective set of rules to which you can refer to help you resolve those problems. It doesn't become personal, it doesn't become major conflict. I hope you found this useful. If you have, please share with your friends. If you have any, and watch other sessions in this series, if you have any need for help, please just get in contact with us at the Solutionist Group. Thank you.